What you're looking at in this picture is the hand of a person who got bitten by a snake and then decided to have something really tight around it with the aim of preventing the venom from spreading. There's a lot of myths that surround what you need to do when you're bitten by a snake. In this video, we're going to clarify these myths and talk about what you actually need to do. Firstly, we need to understand the types of venom that are there. But we're going to simplify this just by saying there's venoms that when a snake bites you, they stay on the site where you've been bitten, and there's other venoms that spread to different parts of the body. So the second important point is that we need to know how these venoms actually spread. And to understand this, we need to know the types of vessels that we do have as human beings. We have arteries and veins, which make up the cardiovascular system, which is the blood system. And then we have a lymphatic system, which is a very special kind of system that carries this certain fluid that we call lymph, but it drains into the veins. So we'll just consider it as some sort of venous system for simplicity's sake. Whenever you apply pressure, the veins easily collapse, and the arteries have some resistance when it comes to pressing them. So when you apply a little pressure, you compress the veins, but the blood in the arteries will be flowing just okay. But when you apply too much pressure, you stop the blood from the arteries going to where they're supposed to be. Whenever you starve any cell in the body, the cell begins to die. So imagine you have something really tight around the limb. With time, the part that is not receiving blood, in this case is your affected limb, will start to die off. Now that we have that understanding, we need to consider what the venom will actually do when you are bitten by the snake. The normal thing when you are bitten, the body sends certain items to that particular site, which helps the body to heal. And there are certain poisonous things which are found in the cell that are normally there, but when they come outside, they cause problems. Some of these things are things like potassium. It's an electrolyte. So normally it's there in the cell, but when it comes outside of the cell and goes into your blood and reaches your heart, it can cause a cardiac arrest. How does this happen? Because this venom from these snakes, in certain cases, breaks down these cells, which we call something as cytotoxic. So it keeps breaking down the cells and releasing these things. And remember, you've had something really tight around the limb, so blood is just at the same particular point and not going anywhere. In an event that you get to remove that same tight covering, all that blood that's there and all those toxins and all those poisons get to move from that area and spread throughout the body. Another thing is that since that place is not receiving blood as it's supposed to, the healing will not be happening properly. So what do you do when you're faced with such a situation? Like always, the thing I say is that you need to remain calm. When you're calm, you think better. The second thing is that if possible, you need to identify the snake. The type of snake is going to tie us to the type of venom. So remember, since we're avoiding anything tight, you need to remove any piece of clothing that is tight, things like watches if the bite is on the hand, things like ankle bracelets if it's on the feet. Of great importance is something that we say immobilization. So the point is, you don't need to be moving the affected limb. As you move the limb, you are encouraging blood flow. So the more blood flows, the more that the venom spreads to the rest of the body. This immobility can be done through applying things like a splint as shown in this photo. When it comes to applying pressure, there's something that we call a pressure immobilization bandage. This is something that should be done by a professional because here we need the right amount of pressure. In this case, that can compress the veins to some extent, but not the arteries. This technique has been shown not to work in certain instances because some people tend to over-apply the pressure and some people tend to and apply pressure. What you do in first aid is not treatment. It simply buys you time for the actual treatment in the hospital. The main treatment for snake venom is called antivenom, simply an antidote. And considering these things happen in the bushes and very distant away from the hospital, these techniques will prove very, very crucial in delaying the spread of this venom until you reach the hospital. Sucking out the poison has been proven not to work, as you might actually even cause more injury or infect the wound yourself, and washing the wound has also been proven not to be efficient.